Good morning. It is Monday, May the 3rd, and we are back for Anchor Your Week number 16. Believe it or not, we are just cranking away on the Anchor Your Weeks. Today is going to be some review for the GAR contracts. For those that don't know, the Georgia Association of Realtors actually updates the GAR contracts to protect the public, the general public, and also to protect us. So we're going to go through the major changes on the forms that we typically use day in and day out. And then we're also going to review our buyer checklist that we sent out. We're rolling out the listing review or the listing checklist this week. So you'll have that to help you with your listing appointments when you're helping sellers. And before we get too much further, though, I want to celebrate the weekly wins from last week. So we'll start with Mr. Matthew Sapira. He is one of our associate brokers. He went live with a listing last week, multiple offer situation incoming on Majors Road. And so he's negotiating multiple offers and they should be wrapping that up today. So congratulations, Matthew. We've got Tim Gibson coming in hot. That was an Andy Mineo reference. I went to his concert last night. Tim brought on 2 new listings last week. He brought one on incoming, and he also launched a 1.45 million Lake Lanier listing. And so both of those went live last week. Chandler made it through her first due diligence on her contract. So way to go, Chandler. There was a little bit of a challenge coming to the end of it, but we got it through to the finish line. So we're moving on with that one. Will Taylor, he's our agent over in Cherokee Ball Ground area. He wrote up his first contract last night, was texting me at 10:30 last night. We're making sure everything got solidified. And so he submitted his first offer. He's excited. And he's got a listing coming up. So very excited for Will. Kim Nabel on the list again, submitted a full cash offer for one of her buyers. And so she's under contract. And then I did make the list. We do have another listing coming up in Dawsonville. It's going to be listed at 274.9, going live Wednesday. I signed the listing agreement last night. But so, yeah, it was a busy week. And again, if I miss somebody, shoot me a message. I don't want to miss anybody celebrating. I'm so proud of you guys. You guys are doing it. You're crushing it. And I'm just sitting here with the biggest smile on my face to think that you're doing it. So I'm so proud of you. Keep up the hard work. Make sure that you show up on this list. Also, I do want to give a happy birthday shout out to Alex Sierra. So today's his birthday. He is still under the 30-year mark. He's 27 today. So happy birthday, Alex. And we trust that you're going to enjoy your day today. All right. So let's hop into the GAR form changes. If you are not following Wiseman or you're not on their email list from Seth Wiseman, it would be wise for you to go ahead and sign up for that, because he sends out, not only does he send out YouTube videos weekly that I make it a priority to watch, not only as a broker, but I also need to know what's going on in the market and how do we protect ourselves and to protect our clients. So this past week, he was actually talking about how do we protect our buyers in these multiple offer situations. So if you're not subscribed to the Wiseman YouTube channel, please do that. It is very helpful information. They're all within 5 minutes of length, so they don't take long, and you're going to watch the video and you're going to leave with information that you probably already didn't know. So they put out this list, it's not a comprehensive list. If you ever are wanting to do a deep dive and find the GAR forms, you can find that on .loop. As long as you're a member of the 400 North Board and you have access to GAR forms, you can actually go in there and see every change that the Georgia Association of Realtors did. But we're only going to focus on the ones that we really use day in and day out. So the exclusive seller brokerage engagement agreement. I'm not going to read all this, but I do want to just kind of scroll through it. You guys can look at this. I can also email this over to you. It's not a big deal. I'll post it in All Stars as well. But they go through each So January 1st, normally it's May 1st. They actually release this one on April 15th. And then there's another small change around September. And then they revamp for the upcoming year. So you definitely want to make sure that you're staying on top of the changes. And you need to, if you haven't already, I was at a listing appointment yesterday, and I told them, normally I make a joke about going through the listing agreement. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, just go ahead and read this. But the reality is, we have to know what are in these contracts. And that's what I was telling the seller. He's actually wanting to get his real estate license. So, I spent a little bit more time coaching and teaching him, but you've got to know what's in these. There's no excuse for you not to take 10 to 15 minutes and read the 8 pages of the purchase and sale agreement. Really, you're only reading page 2 through 6. So you've got 5 pages that you have to read, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 pages that you have to read. But you need to know what's in there. You need to know what happens if there's a default by the seller. You need to know what happens if there's a default by the buyer. You need to know what happens if there's a dispute. You need to know what would happen to you legally. So I just encourage you, now would be a great time. Go into your dot loop, pull up a purchase and sale agreement, pull up a listing agreement, and just read it. I'm telling you, I've been there before where somebody actually read the listing agreement and I wasn't familiar. I didn't know how to answer it. And you want to talk about feeling small? That's what I felt like. So list price and list period now include separate sections. This was new for January 1, but they actually went in and tweaked it a little bit more, where the list price and listing period, there's an on market commencement date, and then there's an exclusive listing start date. So you could start like what I did yesterday. You start the contract the day of the appointment. Then we discuss when it's actually going to be on market. And then there's also a section in there for some pre-marketing. So, just make sure that you're familiar with this. Capitalized language to be delivered in with a specified MLS, multiple listing service. It breaks it down in the actual description of it. The property disclosure is required to provide broker a fully executed lead-based paint, which has been a big issue in the past, especially last year. There was the Georgia Real Estate Commission was really cracking down on brokerages that were not filling out the lead-based paint exhibit. Talks about referrals, and then it just goes into elaborate the broker's duty to the seller. Now, the exclusive buyer brokerage. This is another one that you need to read. Talks about the referrals. What happens if the buyer defaults and you have a signed buyer brokerage? That it clarifies that commission will not be owed if the buyer and seller mutually terminate a contract during due diligence or other periods. So, for this one right here specifically, it just kind of blows me away that would even have to be added. But I guess somebody out there tried to sue somebody after they were under contract. They're trying to sue their buyer. So doesn't make much sense, but we'll move on. The next one's a purchase and sale. So that talks about the prorations of the county and city ad valorem, and then the survival of agreement. This is if you have somebody that for some reason passes away during your transaction. It actually will go into a little bit of detail of what's going to happen should that happen to your contract. I've had that happen once and it was terrible. Counter offer. Clean copy of agreement. So if you know me, you know that I don't like counter offers. And the only reason that I don't like counter offers is because now we're having more files in the folder. And so for me, this is what I've always done, and most of the agents that I've worked with are in agreement with it. We just go ahead, if we're representing the buyer, if we can come to an agreement from the previous purchase and sale or the original purchase and sale, just go ahead. You already have it in your folder. Update what you need to do, update the terms, resend it, and you have a clean contract. There's not really a reason to have a counter offer unless you're just in a time constraint and you want to go ahead and lock it up. But it just talks about having a clean copy, conform copy of the agreement, and agreement to reinstate contract. I have never used that one. The property disclosure had been updated as well. seller's disclosure of latent defects and fixtures checklist. And we're almost done. I know this is boring, but it's necessary. Community association was updated. New section of contact information for master transfer initiation. This is a big one. And I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, one of our agents, about they were going to go live with a listing in an HOA neighborhood, and they weren't sure of the initiation fee. You have to have your sellers determine and confirm the amount of the initiation fee. That if it is not disclosed, and if you've never read the community association disclosure, if it is not disclosed, it falls on the seller's shoulders to pay for the initiation fee. Now, with some HOAs around here, that could be, $500. It could be $350. It could be upwards of $1,000. That's money that's coming out of your seller's pocket. And if you don't do your due diligence, and if you don't have this conversation with the seller, they're going to come to you at the end of it and say, well, why didn't you tell me this? Now I'm out an extra $1,000. So, just make sure that you're reading that. Closing attorney, we use this one. Failure of closing attorney to become holder. And now the alternate holder requires the buyer to immediately notify all parties. Protect yourself when selling real property. That's the brochure that we send out to our buyers. Sellers. And then protect yourself when buying real property. And that's it. So those are the main ones that we're going to use, and we're going to get out of there. Okay. So moral of the story, get familiar with your contracts. How could you ask somebody to sign something that you don't even know what's in there? Amen. All right. So this is the document that I sent out a little over a week ago. Tim and I worked on this. This is as comprehensive of a list that we felt we could put together. And from the very beginning. So, as we continue to grow and as we bring on new agents, if any of you are desiring to maybe be a mentor agent, or maybe you're just, you want to coach somebody, this is a comprehensive list that will literally walk you through every single step. For example, I was not available last night. I took my kids to a concert. I was in Atlanta. Didn't have my iPad. I didn't have anything. And Will called and said, can you help me? I said, I can't. So, and Kim Nabel was the same way Saturday. And I was like, Kim, I'm with family. I really can't. And so both of them ended up calling Sam. Sam is an associate broker. So if you ever need somebody and you can't get in touch with me, you can't get in touch with Tim, Sam is an incredible resource. He's been doing this much longer than I have. And so he can help you. But we put this list together to literally walk you through day one, right? And some of you are like, this is ridiculous because this is so easy. We wanted it to be so clear cut and concise that if one of us is unavailable, all you have to do is pull up this list, find out where you're at on the list, and then you can really start making strides to being independent with that until one of us can hop on dotloop and review that file or answer that question for you. Again, we want to be as available as possible. And so, but there are times when I'm just unavailable. So, and I appreciate the grace to be able to do that. So this is, again, day one, pre-offer, tells you what you do, how to open a lockbox. We're not going to spend a lot of time on here. We're going to come down here to the under contract steps. Now, this is very important that you follow this, because this is literally the step-by-step that you need to do. As a reminder, the contract, once you go under contract, you have within 72 hours to submit your file to me for review. Do not share it. And I put this in here somewhere. Where's it at? Do not share the file. You're going to submit for review, top right corner of dotloop. And that will allow me and shows me that I need to go in there and review your file. 72 hours is 3 days. So that should give you enough time to collect earnest money. That gives you enough time to fill out your contract review checklist and all the other docs that you need to have filled out for me to come in there and review it. As a reminder, if the file is not submitted within 72 hours, On your Exhibit B, I reserve the right to fine any agent that is consistently and constantly not turning in their files. So I don't want to do that. I've never done that. I do give grace. I do give warnings, but I really need help as we continue to grow, as you guys are continuing to get more busy. We need to make sure that we are a tight ship. Otherwise, we're going to sink. And I don't want to sink. I mean, we have an anchor, but we're not sinking because of an anchor. All right. So again, I don't want to read this. You can go through it. If you haven't already, download it to your computer, print it out, keep it next to your computer. This is also on dot loop. So there's no excuse. Well, I didn't get the email. I didn't check my email. I don't know where it's at. I don't know. We've put all this work to make it easy on you guys. Okay. And here it is. Fill out the contract review checklist, add documents, contract review, and that way you can add the files if you don't already. And yeah, so I just wanted to touch on this all the way to the end, all the way. It'll tell you how to close out your file, always attach. Don't ever archive a file, mark status as sold. Okay, so any questions about that? Good. All right, so we're almost finished. I know we've got some agents that are about to go out and show today. I wanted to talk about something that I saw in Real Estate Mastermind post. And it was interesting because I had this conversation with somebody that was interested in becoming a real estate agent on Monday of this past week. And he said, we're having a conversation. What do I need to do? What do I need to do to be able to get into real estate? What does that look like? What does it look like for my family? And he said, well, I just want to succeed in silence before I start telling the world about my success. And I said, why would you want to succeed in silence? And then I see this post last night as we're getting home from the concert. I'm kind of decompressing from driving in Atlanta traffic. And I see this post that someone posted on there and said, it's something along the lines of, it's okay to succeed in silence. Now, I don't know if you believe that. I don't know if you've thought that. Maybe that's what you're operating in with your business currently, but I'm here to squash that. And now hear me out. There's a complete difference between being prideful and arrogant and boastful, right? All of those synonyms in that realm of pride and arrogance, right? There's a complete difference. And if you notice, and if you've been watching my posts, I should never come across as prideful or boastful. But like I always say, and you've heard me say it over and over and over again, people won't know your business if you don't tell them your business. So I'm speaking to you this morning that if you are attempting to succeed in silence, I don't know how you will succeed. This business that you've chosen to work in, this business that you've chosen to invest your time in, to take time away from your family, to take time away from other things in your life, if you don't post consistently, and if you don't tell the world that you are out working, that you are out showing, that you are out negotiating, that you are out loving people in the community and making connections, then you're not going to succeed. You can't succeed in silence. There's no way for you to succeed in silence. If you take, for example, Grant Cardone, right? We know we talked about Undercover Billionaire last week. We did the 100 contacts to contracts, and we did have a couple of people. I'm going to follow up with those that actually agreed to do the 100 contacts to contracts. I did commit to it. And I'll be very transparent and honest. I did not make my 100 contacts in the week. I got just shy of 40. And so, I didn't make it, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to stop trying. But going back to Grant Cardone, if Grant Cardone would not be who he is if he was not telling people about his business, people wouldn't know who he was. People won't know who you are or what you do if you're not telling people about your business. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, right? I don't want to force a dead horse here, but if we don't start having conversations, if we don't start telling people about what we're doing, our business is not going to grow. You've got to speak life over your business. You've got to say, I'm going to succeed. You've got to say that it is coming, that the buyers and sellers are coming to me. You've got to say that I am going to negotiate. I'm going to put in the time. I'm going to watch these videos. I'm going to go outside of Cody. I'm going to go outside of Anchor so I can find what is it that I'm missing, that I can be a better servant to my clients. Because the reality is, and this is what I shared with this person that I was talking to, that imagine, because I had that succeed in silence. I struggled with pride. I don't know why. It was a compensation. Pride is a compensation for something. And so I struggled with that. And when I first got started, I'm like, I don't want to tell people. I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to share my success. I just want to hold it. But the reality is, there are people out there. There are going to be three types of people out there. There's going to be new people that don't know who you are, but learn about you because you've shared about your business. Then you're going to have your haters. And you may not think that you have haters, looking towards your business or looking at you. I am telling you right now, you are going to have haters. You're going to have people that look at you and look at your business and that are going to be so envious and so jealous and so covetousness of your business, that they're going to have this internal frustration because they're watching you do something that they desire and wish that they could do. So that's where the haters come from. And then you're going to have your loyal followers and supporters. And so if you're not out there telling people, one, you're not identifying those people. And you may say, well, I don't want to have haters. Okay. Well, listen, if you're succeeding, you're going to have people that are jealous of you. You're going to have people that are going to be envious of what you have. But what they don't understand is they don't understand the work and the time and the effort that you've chosen to put into your business, the sacrifice that you've put in, the early mornings, the late nights. They're not going to know. You can either let the hater stop you and say, well, I don't want to tell people, or you can let them fuel you. Are you going to let them motivate you? I remember when I first left teaching, I just felt this kind of, I don't know, this sense of that there are people literally waiting for me to fail to go back to teaching. They were waiting for me to fail. They wanted me to fail. And I think back to that point and I'm like, you know what? Watch me. Watch what I'm about to do. I will not go back to teaching. I will not let my family go hungry. I will not lose this opportunity that's in front of me. And once you come to that point in your business, once you come to the point where the reality of your friend, someone on your friends list purchasing a home by another realtor, once you come to that reality and say, that's not acceptable to me, I'm going to start telling people about my business. That's when your business will change. But if you're still stuck in that rut, if you're still saying, well, I don't want to be annoying, I don't want to tell people, someone else is doing it. Somebody else is doing it, and they're doing it. You're not. They're going to get what you're not. Do what others won't so you can have what others don't. Do what others won't so you can have what others don't. Are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to let people know? Are you willing to put your business out there? You cannot succeed in silence. It won't work. It just won't. You've got to tell people, not to mention those loyal supporters, those people that are encouraging you, the ones that are lifting you up, the ones that told you it was possible when everyone else told you it was possible. They're going to be right there next to you celebrating. They're going to be sharing your posts. They're the ones that are going to be telling their friends, their family, people in Walmart that you cannot use another agent besides this person. But they can't tell people that if you're not sharing your business. So it sounded a little tough, sounded a little hard. I just desire the most out of each and every single one of you. I just want the best for you. And what type of leader would I be if I didn't encourage you to do the things that you don't want to do? And we're about to wrap up. We're coming to a close, landing the plane. I was hiking Saturday. We went to Mount Yona. I would love to do a group hike. If any of you guys are into that, maybe some team building, go to Mount Yona. It's in Cleveland. It's about 30 minutes away. We just go out, hike, have a good time. So we're hiking, and it's 2 miles from the parking lot to the top. Now, it is a Mount Yona. It's a mountain, and it's a straight up climb. Now, I don't hike a lot. I'm not super athletic in regards to, I don't work out every single day. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll just go knock this 2 mile hike out. It's not going to be bad. And so we find ourselves starting this hike, and I'm telling you, it is straight up. It's straight up. And then there's rocks, there's roots, there's natural steps. I mean, I've worked so many different muscles in my legs that I didn't know I had. There was a point in the hike where I got so discouraged mentally. I said, I, can I do this? Can I do this? It was somewhere around the halfway point where we got up there, and this, we were asking, I was like, are we getting close? And they're like, you're a little over halfway. And it was at that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, if this is halfway, my legs are burning. I feel it in my lower back. But I had a choice at that moment. I could choose to turn around and to walk backwards and walk down and go back and wait for the car and wait for them to get to the top and come back. I would be sitting down there for an hour and a half, roughly. Or I could face it, I could push through the pain, and I could get to the top. And I knew that if I could just get to the top, I would forget about everything else that I had to suffer through to get up there. And I don't know if you watched my video that I posted yesterday, but I'm telling you right now that as I was walking up there, I couldn't help but think that this is what I've walked through. This is something that I had to do in my business. I had to mentally force myself. I could either stop right where I'm at, turn around and not go to the top, not see the view that was absolutely spectacular, or I could choose to keep pushing, push through the pain. And I knew that if I were to get up there, I could rest and I could just enjoy God's masterpiece of the view from the top. And so I chose to push through the pain. We got up there, and it was absolutely gorgeous. It was stunning. And then as I'm walking down, I saw because I could relate. I could relate with all of the people that were hiking up. You could see the pain, you could see the doubt, you could see the fear. Am I going to be able to make this hike? Am I going to be able to make it to the top? And so then I started encouraging people. As I'm walking down, they're looking up, they're pushing through, they're exhausted, and I'm saying, you guys are doing it. I'm telling you right now, the view is worth the climb. So I say all that to say, it may feel uncomfortable now to share your business. It may feel uncomfortable for you to put yourself out there and to expose yourself and be vulnerable. But I'm telling you, the view is worth it. Push through the pain, push through the fear, push through whatever is holding you back, and go to the top. And then as you're coming down, help those people that are climbing to the top as well. You guys have a great day. We will see you next Monday at 9 a.m.